Hi there, it's Scott from the CFL Career Training Academy, and welcome to our webcast on what careers are looking for you. And thank you for joining us. For those of you who are listening across, we have listeners in the US, we have listeners in Canada. Please make sure that your apps are shut down so that you can actually see the video feed and catch the PowerPoint. As I was mentioning before, great idea, have some sort of recording device for this. If you've got a program like ScreenFlow, my gosh, you could record this right on your own computer and have your own copy. But if you don't have something like that, the recording for this will be available, as I was mentioning, probably by the end of day tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and I will post it on the Career Academy website. So just as a show of hands here in the question box, which is on to your right, how many of you are members of the CFLPA Career Training Academy, or just Career Academy? This is an easy one. Yes. A couple no's there as well. So if you don't know already, whenever we do a webcast like this, it goes right there. Okay, it goes there. So if you're missing anything, there's already 30 other webcasts in there. Everything from resume building, interview skills, entrepreneurship skills, internships. We've even started a job bank in there. So it's a very cool place to hang out. So I'm hoping you'll get a chance to take a look at it soon. And that's where what we're about to create, is ongoing. So because we're recording it, I'm going to take all the questions at the end, so that I can edit those questions off and we can still have, the fun of answering those questions. But those who are listening to it on a recorded basis don't have to listen to, 15, 20 minutes of questions if they don't want to. Okay, so let's get us started here. So what careers are you looking for is the title today. So let's get some boundaries sort of settled here. This and what I'm about to do is not a complete list. It can't be a complete list. We have over 30 people on the webcast right now, and there's no way that we can actually provide all the top of careers. So let me tell you what we've done. Okay, what we've done, things we've considered, and what we are presenting for you today is, one, think about where will you live when football is actually done. Now, if you're looking for, transition work between seasons, think about that as well. So we've tried to provide regional specifications as to where some jobs are good and others, aren't good. What is your passion? Okay, we may hit onto something you're very passionate about today, but what we have done is we have actually taken from the US and from Canada, based on 2018 statistics, where the jobs going forward 4, 6, and 8 years are going to be. Okay, but this is a big but. Do you want a job that is a grind for you, that you don't really enjoy, or do you want to do something that you really enjoy? So as you're going through this, think about what is your passion. Number 3 on this is, how hard are you willing to work to make this happen? There's some careers coming out here that are, walk into jobs. You can go, honestly, you can go tomorrow and get these jobs. And there's others that would take years of post-secondary education. So I want you to think about the long game for us in this one, for yourself and your family in this one. The long game. What is it you would like to be doing, and how hard are you willing to work? And we'll talk about that with each one of the jobs. And then the final one here is playing football. I think the average CFL salary is $60,000, $65,000 per year. And I'm not sure if that's relevant for 2018, but a statistic a while ago. What are your income requirements when you finish playing football? Do you want to maintain your current lifestyle? Do you want to enhance it? If you're one of those fortunate ones making 6 figures, where do you make 6 figures outside of football? Because celebrity status, if you've got some locally or nationally, it can evaporate pretty quickly. So really an idea when you're looking for your next great career is, what level of income are you going to need? Okay, so this is not a complete list. There are things that are awesome that have not made our list, but we don't have 12 hours to get all that to you. So we've sort of picked the top 11, 12 professions based on CNBC 2018 February study, and based on the Statistics Canada. It's not Stats Canada, actually, it's a Canadian publication that has done job search. So depending on which side of the border you're going to be living on, this is going to be hopefully some relevance for you. So what we looked at specifically for each position, okay, here's what we looked at. The growth and demand for positions in that area, okay, with that kind of job. What kind of growth? Now, the average growth rate is around 5 to 7% based on our economies over the last little while and going forward. So we've looked at professions where the growth rate is going to be larger than that. Okay, we're going to take a look at how much you would earn in that specific job. So each one of them, you're going to have a sense of what the salary range, what the hourly wage is. We've also taken a look at the educational requirements to get yourself into those kinds of positions. And actually, when I was researching some of these, wow, there's some learning for me to do here. So I imagine that there's some learning, coming on for you as well. And the other thing is, because we've got a huge country, we've got two huge countries here. There are regional specifications. And no, I can't go through all the provinces and territories and the states by number to find out what their numbers are. These are often, in some cases, high level numbers, aggregate numbers, if you will. So much for Western Canada, so much for the Eastern Seaboard in the US. So you're going to have to, if you find a job here or position that you're looking at, you're going to want to take a look at what the regional demand is going to be based on where you're going to think you're going to live after football. Sound fair? Okay, so just in the question box right now, if you can just let me know, can you still hear me? Is it all working well before we dive in here? And I'll grab the quick glass of water. Yes, you're hearing me. Okay, so let's go forward. So career number one is being a financial planner. And this is something that a lot of CFL guys are already doing and the runway to do that. And financial planning, if and I'll take a little bit to explain the jobs just so that you have a sense of what we're talking about here. Financial planning is helping couples, individuals plan their future. And usually people get involved with a financial planner sort of in their 40s. And over a period of time, you build up a clientele of people that you help with their investing, with their savings, with their insurance, planning for kids' university, all these kinds of things. So if you like people and you like helping people, number one. Number two, if you've got some acumen, okay, some knowledge or interest in numbers, that is a really good thing, okay? As a financial planner, you're not investing in individual stocks or anything like that. You have companies beneath you that actually do all that kind of stuff. You're sort of the go-between between all the investment instruments, the insurance brokers, the stocks, the mutual funds, etc. And you are the face of those instruments for these people. So let's talk specifically. By 2026, look at that. This is across Canada and the US, over 40,000 more financial advisors. Okay, and we mentioned that we're talking about 7% growth rate or up. Look at that. That's 15% growth rate. That's huge. Okay, so if you like something where you don't have to bust your body to work on, financial planning may be something for you. And if it's something that is of interest to you, contact us, because we have several guys in the mentorship program with the Career Academy who are financial planners and have said, listen, you know what? Just reach out. I'm happy to help somebody. Here's a cool thing. Annual median salary is $90,000. Okay, and that's 90,000 US. Now, just in case you've forgotten some high school or university math, median salary means, in simple terms, I know it's not, for those who are real mathematicians, it's not the same as average, but it means that we have a lot of people, making less than that and a lot of people making more. So you can be a financial planner who's starting out and making $40,000 or $50,000 a year. By the same token, you could have a really robust book of business. In other words, the people that you're working with, and be making $150,000, $200,000 a year. The one thing that I'd mentioned for a financial planner that is really cool is once you have that book of business, people tend to stay with you. You get clients for 10, 20 years. So there's a lot of work at the beginning, a lot of heavy lifting to find those clients. So again, your interpersonal and people skills become really important. But once they're with you and you take care of them, cha-ching, 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 it's a great piece to actually get into. And you can, get larger clients, which will even pay you more. Okay, so good salary there. Okay, educational requirements. Now in the US, a bachelor's degree, okay, is a starting point. And then you will be taking courses after that that will help you become either a certified financial planner. There's a whole bunch of specialties. In Canada, I put a website down there, because there's about 8 or 9 different governing bodies about financial planning. And generally speaking, they are looking for a bachelor's degree to start. But there are private companies that will actually offer, sort of like Canadian securities courses, a variety of things, and some of them do not require the full bachelor's degree. So depending on what side of the border you're on, okay, different requirements. Again, think about now, where are you going to live? Where are you going to practice? Because some of them are national bodies and others of them will have provincial legislation on that. And again, if this is the kind of thing that you might be interested in, reach out. Okay, financial planning, not a bad way to do it. Number 2 on this one, I couldn't believe this, okay, with all the drones that are being flown out there. I've talked to several people who are high up in the airport industry and the aviation industry. I said, aren't drones going to take over? They said, yeah, not yet. Remember that driverless car down in Texas that ran into a store last summer? So that's only 2 dimensions. The car only goes, left, right, and it doesn't go up and down. They can't get that right. So having drone pilots is probably a bit further away for commercial airliners than we thought. So being a commercial pilot, how many of you have actually thought about being a commercial pilot? Wouldn't that be cool? Okay, and there's a whole bunch of things around that. That's not just one path. So let me sort of unpack it for you and give you a couple pathways for that. One, the area of growth for the pilots is going to be regional airlines and airlines flying out of Asia. Okay, now my neighbor across the street worked for a major airline, and his hub was Bangkok. He'd fly over to Bangkok, he'd fly, etc., and then he would come home. So that because you're over here does not necessarily mean you can't fly with Asian airlines, and there are still needs for pilots for commercial airlines within North America. It's just that the majority of the growth is going to be over there. But the other piece that I'm giving you lots of information, and I apologize if it's too much, but there's going to be a lot of retiring pilots too in North America. So there's going to be fillers in for that as well. So what can you expect if you think about being a commercial pilot? Well, starting salary range is around that $40,000. And what that means, by the way, look at that. You can go up to $200,000 as your years of service continue to go up. What does that mean in terms of time commitment? Well, pilots can fly 10, 12, 14 days a month. It's depending, where you're flying. If you're doing regional, you don't transverse as many time zones, et cetera. So you probably can fly a little bit more because you can keep your sleep requirements up. But if you're doing, the big ones that go across country or transcontinental, less days. But I'm doing it in terms of a lifestyle. Pilots are away from home a fair bit, and then they're home for a lot. And when they're home for a lot, they're tired. It's not unlike you going on a road trip, with football and having to transverse time zones, except they're doing it every day. Okay, so it becomes a really kind of just a lifestyle choice. Okay, things else about pilots, education. Big airlines need a bachelor's degree, and there's minimum marks that have to be scored in physics and math. Okay, I took ground school. I have my ground school to be a pilot, and you do need to apply yourself. Now, if you haven't studied math for a while and you're shying away from that, you don't necessarily do it that way, because if you really want it, you can probably learn what you need to learn on Bernoulli's theorem and drag and all those kinds of things. But it is intensive. You have to actually have a passion for it. In addition to the bachelor's degree, you want to have ground school. Okay, ground school, you can't get in the air, and you'll become a private pilot first, and then you'll work up from single engine to multi-engine planes, and that can take a while. But again, my neighbor, who was the pilot, has a son who's now 26. He's been flying for 2 years for a regional airline, just got taken on by one of the large airlines, and he's sitting pretty. So if you've already got your degree, think about 1 or 2 years of training. You probably could be up there being that commercial pilot. Okay, commercial pilots. I think I should have gone back and done that. I love seeing the world. Okay, position number 3, and I hope this information, just give me a shout out in the box there. Is this kind of stuff interesting for you? Cool. All right, I'm hearing some yes. So you're just taking it in. So that's very cool. Next one is an information security analyst, and that's basically cybersecurity. Okay, that's where you're working with computers, putting firewalls, software, just to make sure that nobody's getting hacked in. I am not anywhere near knowledgeable enough in this to talk beyond that. But look at the number of openings and look at the percent increase. Remember, the average increase is about 5 to 7%, 28% increase from now in information security analysts. I mean, we can't go a week without one major corporation getting hacked or something going down or identity theft, that kind of stuff. That is only going to get stronger and stronger. So there's a lot of positions for that. And by the way, that statistic is across both US and Canada. Here's your median salary. Does that get your attention? Median salary. Again, some people less, a lot of people more as well. That's pretty decent money in most neck of the woods, okay? So the part that's really kind of exciting for this is look at that educational requirements. No firm requirements. In other words, the industry is not legislated. There's not a professional designation that's applied by all companies who are hiring these folks. But generally speaking, currently, they would prefer you to have a bachelor's degree with some content in cybersecurity. But if it's off season, you know what? You could take that course, if you've got your bachelor's degree, and then be looking at that. But again, you'll want to be interested, in computers in that area. Again, don't lose sight of the passion. The money can look really good. You just want to make sure that you've got the passion to go along with it. Next one, this one, physical therapist. Physical therapist, you guys have been on the other end of a physical therapist for probably longer than you want to be. What do you think about being on the other side of the table for a while? Is it something that interests you? I know there's a gentleman here in Tawasin who's into his 5th clinic, and I think now he's 45 and retired. He's just hired a whole bunch of physical therapists. He keeps opening them up, specializes in sports medicine, and sees a few clients on his own each week, but he's sitting pretty. And the reason he's sitting pretty is because demand is going through the roof. 67,000 jobs estimated over the next 8 years. Huge, huge. Now, this one has a couple of little significant barriers to entry. In other words, things that you have to do. But the money that you can expect if you are just an employee within a physical therapist realm, 85,000. And again, those are US dollars, and it is median. So think, Canadian wise, that's 110 or 120, depending on the exchange rate that's going on. Fair bit of money there. The challenge? Okay. You got the bachelor's degree plus up to 3 years of a specialized program. So in a lot of cases, people come with a doctorate degree of physical therapist. This is a highly educated position, and obviously it needs to be. But if you enjoy this kind of thing, working with athletes and working with people in a physical therapy kind of capacity, and you've already got your bachelor's degree, could you not this off season start taking that specialized program? And then over the period of the next couple of years, have most of it on your belt, so that when you transition out, you're almost at the starting gate to start making that kind of money and enjoying a career, and maybe starting your own chain, your own branch offices of physical therapy, because there's a lot of people, boomers who are getting old and need physical therapists, folks who become digitized and become couch potatoes and who are hurting themselves just standing up out of the couch. And I say that with a big smile on my face, but we're not as physically active. There's a high demand coming your way, and that will be sustained for some time. Certainly ranks within the top 10 of positions coming available. Okay, so there we go. Number 2. Questions coming in. I'm just going to take a peek here. Okay, good. All right, thank you. And I will put the PowerPoint right back on. Just wanted to make sure that we're doing. What did I want to do? Can you just tell me, and I'll edit this one out. Is this too much information, or are you guys doing okay with the amount that's coming at you? Okay, Kobe, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, cool. Let's get back to the show then. And again, as your head starts spinning about all these kinds of opportunities, great. Because everything I'm tossing at you today is something that if you had the requirements, you're going to be able to find work. Your job is to, again, pick something that you would like to do, knowing your aptitudes. Okay, so how about you become me? This is what I did. I became a college instructor and or vocational instructor, and just with a bachelor's degree. Now it's gone up a little bit, but in the U.S. and a lot of places in Canada, you can still get to be one. What you really have to like here is working with people and teaching. So if you've done that in football already, you've worked in some football academies, you've helped some high school teams or college teams, run some football camps or basketball camps, whatever it is that you've done, and you like this teaching piece, take a serious look at this because it is incredibly rewarding. And the numbers there, it's still a lot of, and these are just Canadian numbers. Those are just Canadian numbers, 57,000. BC, Ontario, Quebec, and the Yukon are places where this is, in highest demand. Not to mention that BC, Ontario, and Quebec are the highest population density in Canada. So that's a lot of space. But look at that median hour wage. I haven't seen that. Okay, I teach at BCIT. I've taught at Kwantlen out here in Vancouver. BCIT pays $90 an hour. Kwantlen even a little bit more. Kwantlen's a university now. So I think the numbers here are misleading, and I'm just giving you my small sample size on that. But $50-$60 an hour, okay, can be done, and it's a great thing to do even on a part-time basis. Like if you wanted to test this out, you could go onto a college website now. They're looking for and recruiting instructors for January to May positions, and it might just be a 1-week course, and it could be a course on teamwork, a whole bunch of different things. That's how I got into teaching. I just went onto the website about 20 years ago and boom, started teaching one course. They get to know you, knew nothing about teaching. They like you, they hire you back. Okay, so it's a really cool position. Obviously, I'm biased in that. I love doing this kind of stuff, but you can then get into job stability where you become a regularized college professor or vocational instructor, and it's a regular salary coming in, and it's a portable skill across the country. So if you're moving around, it's pretty good. Okay, highest paying territories or places, Northwest Territories. So if I am hearing, $60, $80, $90 that I see here in BC, in the Yukon and Alberta, if it's that much, not a bad place to go because the cost of living is an awful lot less. Okay, educational requirements ranges from a diploma. What they often look for college and vocational ones is it's the industry experience that you have. So now think about yourself as a player, the leadership on a pro football team, the dedication to yourself, your community outreach, your public speaking skills, if you've been speaking publicly for the team or in the communities that you worked with. These are all skills, these are all courses that are actually taught by colleges, and they're constantly looking for instructors there. So if I can help you put together your resume and we can take a look at what that might look like, happy to do that. If you're going to go to the universities or the polytechnics like the Ryersons in Toronto, U of T, various universities, then the entrance stakes are usually the master's degree to get in with industry experience. Okay, the master's degree is a barrier. There are some that will still hire with a bachelor's degree, but they want to see some extensive industry experience as well. Okay, software engineer designer, and again, this is coming from Canadian data here. 18,000 jobs for engineering or designing software. So you are, in short, a coder. You are writing the great next thing that's going to keep me addicted to my phone. All kinds of things that are going on there. Demand pretty much across the board. I'm really surprised that British Columbia is not in there because we have a huge number of tech firms here who cannot find enough people actually to work in the industry. Hourly wage. Now, the different thing about software engineers or designers, it often is an hourly wage. It's a contract gig. They'll hire you for a specific project. And when the project's done, the hope is that once the project's done, they will hire you back for another project. And once they start liking you, then they say, hey, you know what? We really don't want to lose this person, so let's actually, give them a full-time contract or a full-time position that has, predictability to it. So still not a bad hourly wage. Okay. And again, highest paying territories, just so you have that data. So pretty much across Canada for that. So this is something, again, if you like computers, you're detail oriented, you can pick up, you've probably seen some coding in there. And a lot of coding today too is drag and drop kinds of stuff, with pre-coded pieces. So, but you do have to have a strong eye for detail on this. Okay. And you have to get a hunched back for working on the computer for so long. Okay. Education, generally speaking, a bachelor's degree. That's what they want to see. And it doesn't mean that you have to have it in the latest programming language. They're willing to often teach you that. They just want to see that you've got some skill within the computer realm. Okay. Here's one that, really blew me away, because growing up to be a registered nurse was just something that nobody could get to, because there was just no demand for them. But high demand in most areas across Canada and the US. High intensity job too. So now we're thinking about this as a profession for you. So it's one of those things that has shift work attached to it, has a lot of, and I have several friends who've been nurses for 10, 20, 30 years, and some of my daughter's friends are just becoming nurses. You want to help people. You've really got to have that at your core. If you don't have that at your core, then this is not something you go into because, well, the money's pretty decent. Because the money is okay. Okay? It's okay. You are not going to retire a millionaire as a registered nurse, but it again has predictability of income, can provide you with all kinds of ability to help people. And every time we go to the hospital, if you've been to one, you've seen the nurses there, how respected they are. They often know more than the doctors going on, so there's a lot of respect that goes with that. The education requirements, bachelor's degree, and then you have to register with the provincial regulatory authority. So bachelor's degree in terms of time, I know some here in British Columbia and in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, 3 years is get you done. Now, a lot of that, could you start that while you're doing your off season? Could you take some online courses so that when it comes to practicums and things like that, you do that in the off season and you work it while you're playing. Okay, so again, very high demand profession and not going anywhere. All right, other ones here. Gosh, I'm getting excited about all these different things that we're seeing. Construction workers. How about in your city? Are you seeing a lot of construction going up? I was talking to a client who's working on the new LA Rams stadium down in Los Angeles, and he said the amount of construction going on in LA is absolutely nuts. They just can't get enough workers on there. So if you like working with your hands, if you like building things, this is a great thing for you. If you like being outside, again, all kinds of weather, then this has a strong appeal for those kind of folks. Growth by 12%. With that many new positions, 150,000 new positions over the next 5 years. So in all the places that I'm talking to with clients, they are looking for people. We're seeing help wanted signs everywhere because there's a labor shortage. There's just, and in terms of trades and in terms of construction workers, there's just not enough people, generally speaking, in most pockets in North America to keep the projects going like they want to. So annual median salary, again, $33,000, keeping in mind, or $25 an hour, that construction can be a seasonal position for a lot of places in the northern climates where, it's indoor construction in the wintertime. That's all that can be done because of the winter hitting in there. So you can make more money. I know folks are making $40 or $50 an hour as a general contract construction labor. But it will come, another few weeks when the work starts to slow down here and the weather gets colder and wetter, there'll be a lot of down days on that. So if you like working with your hands, it's easy to get into, nothing specific, generally speaking. By the way, if you do have, a specific skill, you're a carpenter, you do cabinetry, you do tile, those kinds of things. And we'll talk about trades in a bit, but even that skilled labor, all of a sudden your hourly rate goes up. So my recommendation would be, if there's something about construction that you like, that you want to become a specialist in, find carpentry. That's $70 an hour kind of stuff, at least. So, that's a great way of giving yourself a pay grade increase along the way. All right. Again, just making sure that we're catching everybody here. Thanks for the comments on that. Nikias, nice to see you on as well. Okay, Bill, good to see you too. I did not know we'd see you here today. And Jason, nice to have you along as well. Okay, have you had enough, or can I show you a few more? Okay, this is meant to give you the real data on the top 10 or 11 positions that you can be looking at right now. Next one, industrial electricians. Okay, industrial electricians, again, larger than 5 or 7%, lots of openings. These are just Canadian statistics, so over 12,000, and highest demand in this case is over Nova Scotia. Median hourly wage, $33 an hour, median hourly wage, and that takes into account provinces that don't pay enough. You can't get an electrician on site for under $80 or $90 out here in BC. So I would think this number is somewhat dated and somewhat low. So, think of $40, $50 an hour and going up. Highest paying provinces, there you go. Okay, again, BC is actually in there as well. And education, this is an interesting one. My godson has just gone through to become an electrician through a vocational training program, and just getting, I believe, his red seal soon as well. It's been a 4 or 5 year journey, but over the last 2 or 3 years, and right now, he's making $60, $70 an hour. If he were able to go up to the oil patch, in Fort St. John and Fort McMurray, all those places, then the wage goes up as well. So currently with oil, there's a huge demand, but even without oil, there's a huge demand for industrial electricians. So if you have that kind of interest, you have an aptitude for detail and accuracy of work, because you need to have that certainly with being an electrician, then this is something that you can take a peek at. Okay, keeping along the trades as well. We have shipbuilding going on out here, and we also have a pipeline, LNG pipeline, that has just been approved by the federal government. So pipelines are still, in huge requirement. Doesn't seem like as many openings, and it's not, but this is a very more specific career to be pulling. So highest demands, Nova Scotia, Ontario, and because we've just had an LNG factory approved, a mega one, I would think BC is going to fall into that as well. Median hourly wage, again, $35 an hour, that is low. Okay, that is low. Highest paying provinces, you've got that information again. Educational requirements, much like electrician, vocational training, okay, and along the way, trade certification, going from apprentice level up to red seal, are all those things that become possible for you. Again, these last few professions, okay, are for folks who like to work with their hands. That's what they prefer to do. They do not want to sit at a desk at a keyboard. They do not want to be talking to clients on the phone all day. You like to work with things and build things, okay? And you would want to know that about yourself. Great training programs, and certainly happy to point you in the direction of someone if this suits you. Firefighters, wow, I think we've had 6 guys from the CFL just this last year alone train to become firefighters. Very popular profession for a lot of folks, and for a lot of reasons too, because not the least of which is the 4 on and 4 off scheduling that you actually get. So a lot of the guys can actually have a life outside of firefighting and have a side business on as well. So it's a pretty interesting thing. And again, a lot of the guys have been retiring. There's a lot of vacuum underneath, and they're looking for folks. So employment is projected to grow at 7%, which is average for every position, but it's huge for firefighters. Even 5 or 6 years ago, you would have to be in the top 5 or 10% of all applicants to even get a look, because there were so many people competing for one position. I've helped a couple guys on I think it was the Ticats, who were gone in for firefighting positions within their communities kind of stuff, and it's been quite successful for them so far. So in terms of money that you're looking at for firefighter, think about $50,000 to start and getting up to $75,000. Now, that's not as high as some of the professions that we've talked about, but it's still decent money and it's a livable wage in most places that we go. But, and you already get this, if you combine this with being a, working construction, having your own side business on there with the 4 days, 4 on off, you can, top that up quite easily with another $10, $20, $30,000. Again, depends on family commitments, all those kinds of things. But you'll find that one of the subcultures of firefighting is everybody's got something on the side. Okay, and that helps make things go easily. You have to be able to follow rules and regulations. You're a football player. You're already used to that. There's a defined hierarchy there, and there always will be. You got to be able to follow that. So it's not so much a place for a free thinker, but somebody who can get along well with people and follow rules. So education, often just out of high school or your grade 12 equivalent, plus a fire academy training. And we offer that. The CFL Career Academy offers that through the training division, and there's scholarships for that training. How cool is that? So if you're interested in this, you can contact me directly, or for something even more immediate, just log on to the CFL Career Academy website and look under partnerships, and you'll find the training division for firefighting there with information and a hyperlink where you can contact them directly. So this is a very cool opportunity, and big reach out to Jason and to Brian at the PA headquarters for putting those alliances in place. It's just awesome. We're down to 2 more, so hang in there. What have we been talking at so far? 36 minutes. We're going to be done in about 10 minutes here, so just hope we can give you enough value so you feel like it's been worthwhile for your time. Just by a show, are we still doing okay, guys? You got room for a couple more? All right, cool. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's just get you back to the show here. Okay. I'm not sure if you've seen this like I have, but becoming a truck driver, it used to be, and you still have to take a certified training course to become a professional driver, but it used to be that they would ask you to pay for it. Now out here on the West Coast, and I've seen some places back east, they will pay for your course if you will come drive for them. That's how how short the supply professional truck drivers are. And so 6% growth from today. That's again a national average, so it's probably higher than that. Annual median salary about $40,000. And it doesn't mean you have to have your own rig. If you have your own rig and you build up to getting your own rig, then you can make an awful lot more money than that. And it depends how much you want to drive. You don't have to drive full time. So what does it take to be a successful truck driver? And we're talking both short haul and long haul. Okay, being on those roads, day in, day out, great driver's record, all those kinds of things. If you're doing transnational routes and things like that, being on your own an awful lot. Like to have a lot of time to think. It's one of those things, and you'll know if you love driving. And I would suggest driving with somebody before you actually go into this, if you don't know this is something you want, or at least sign up for the introductory training course so that it can give you the skinny on what it looks like. So education on this one, completion of a training course at an accredited truck driving school. And again, a lot of companies now, they're desperate for drivers. So, if they don't pay for your school, they will often offer you a signing bonus for signing on with them, which you can put against some of the money you had to pay for your school, and must obtain a commercial driver's license. Okay, without that, you're sort of dead in the water. You can't go anywhere. So, one of those other skills, easy to do, you could start, and within 8 weeks, you could be doing a truck driver. As a family guy, if you've got family, probably not the best thing. If it's something that just suits your lifestyle, okay, there it is. And then the final one that we've got here today, and this is where I'm a business consultant, and I work with a lot of clients just everywhere. And one of the huge shortages we're seeing is people in professional business to business selling. And we cannot find enough people, qualified people, to take these positions. And I know a lot of the guys that I've talked to over the last couple of years coming off the field, they're really good with people. They get out and meet people. They know how to talk to them. They're smiling. They're happy, which is a great beginning for professional business-to-business sales skills. So, just take a look at the numbers here. Shortage across most industry sectors. It's a good paying job. I have 2 postings right now. Both are for about 120,000 US for a sales position, and I can't find the right people for it. So what makes the right person for a position like this? If you like people and you like solving problems, okay, selling is not sort of like, hey, do you want to buy this? How about now? I'll drop it $5. That's not the kind of selling we're talking about. It's going into other businesses and helping them solve business problems with the product or service that you actually have. That's what it is really about. And it's like a chess game because every client's different. We had a client who was presenting to the largest fitness chain in North America last week for a $1.7 million deal. And, we found a special need that this client needed, and click, they got the deal. So that's 1.7 million for a company, granted. But, that person was making 2%, 3% on that. That was sort of like a $30,000 or $40,000 paycheck from that one deal. Okay, and that was just one deal for the year. So it's one of those things that it can have income roller coaster ride along with it. But it's like being a financial planner, that the more book of business you build up where you have regular clients, you have a steady amount of income along the way, and the blips are at the higher levels. It doesn't take you back down. Okay, right now on the Career Academy website with Vivant, the largest solar panel provider in the US, they are looking for you guys. They're looking for you as salespeople. They're willing to fly you to the US to help you explore this opportunity. Okay, so you can take a look on the Career Academy website and let me know if it's something you want to know more about. I'm happy to let you know what I know. But professional business-to-business selling is an incredible opportunity if it's something that appeals to you. So education, usually a bachelor's degree to get into it, not always true, not always true. And a lot of companies are willing to train on the job. So that is what we have in terms of positions. Like I said at the beginning, this list is not complete. It's based on CNBC and Canadian publication of the top professions for the next 8 years in North America. And I hope that it's given you some thought, and I hope that even 1 or 2 of them you might want to dig into a little bit more seriously. So just sort of summarizing before we let you get on with your evening here, you want to think back, where will you live, and check out to see if in that region, that specific occupation is going to be in good demand. What is your passion? Okay, passion, life gets too short to be putting in 20, 30 years of something that you can't stand. So at least, hopefully you've really enjoyed football and it's exciting for you. Try to take that enthusiasm forward to your next career. How hard are you willing to work to make this happen? The good stuff just doesn't come because you think about it for a day or 2. You got to build that runway. What education might you require? What internships might you require? What training might you require? And are you willing to do that in the off season? Okay, you want to invest in yourself as soon as you can, and get a sense. You might be in your 20s, no family yet. You're doing okay with what you're making in the CFL, but I bet you don't want to be working until you're 55 or 60. Okay, I bet you want to retire sooner. So why not try and make as much money as you can early on in your career, rather than waiting until you actually have your family. Okay, and then going from there. So we just had one of those little interruptions with the internet there, so thanks for your patience on that. So go back to those 3 questions, and once you get a sense of that, then take a look at the professions. Okay, so we're going to press the stop button. Thank you very much for joining us for today. Don't you go anywhere. For those of you who are on the webcast here, I'm going to take any questions that you might have now.